There's a comment here from Aisha. She says the AFCC Act of 2002 that was repealed and later enacted by the National Assembly had 15 years and a maximum sentence of 25 years for economic crime. But the one that was adopted now had 2-3 years.
Yeah, that is what the National Assembly did to us.
Shouldn't these kind of cases be what your group and other civil society groups should be championing to change? Unfortunately,
that was one of the things that I mentioned to the EFCC official. I mean, during Madam Waziri, when they advocated for this, they never took, especially the civil society, into confidence and also into partnership in the process that led to this the final documents that they're using now. I mean, there was no way anybody, knowing the level of rampage, the corruption is heaving on Nigeria now. You couldn't in any way have just considered 2 years.
When your group knew this.
No, now we are engaging. No, two things. I mean, we are going to actually petition the NJC, and one of the things we are actually going to advocate for. I mean, you have some brilliant judges around, just like the one that just gave the judgment in the terrorism case that just sentenced the guys involved in the October 1st. You have some judges who have been handing down judgments, but I think the NJC, as it stands now, is actually for us to start calling for either the overhaul of the NJC or the disbandment of the NJC, because you can't even see the relevance as at now of that body in terms of reforming the judicial system in Nigeria. No, you have the cases where judges are reported. I mean, you have the Narong and Kalejaye case, which is just there all over. As at today, 3-4 years after, you don't even hear anything. The judge is still there sitting, the lawyer is still practicing.
The two lawyers who came on this morning, sorry to cut you there, Larrawaju. The two lawyers who came on this morning, Mr. Kayamo as well as Mr. Shitu, they were still very much on this, and they said, well, it wasn't commensurate to the crime committed. But again, if you try to put some logic in all of this, you were in court and you just said that they also talked about some plots of lands in Gombe and some other places. Now, we're not talking about plots of land in Abuja. So, in your assessment, such lands, I don't know, is it commensurate to maybe the amount stolen, if any? How much do they sell lands in Gombe or maybe in other towns away from Abuja and Lagos and even maybe in Port Harcourt? So these are some of the issues people have tried to analyze.
The truth of the matter, which is where, of course, I'm not sure if the judge was able to actually put costs to all those properties, but if he did, that would put the amount recovered in the region of about 2.3 billion naira.
Because from the Defense Council there, he says, well, he's lost all of it, everything he got.
All of it? You know, because you can even see where he said he's been set free. And then I think he immediately cautioned himself. He said not free in that. I mean, because he could see this is just freedom for the guy. It is not conviction. Sorry?
But he's an ex-convict.
You can see when he said he's set free. An ex-convict already, but then he's been set free by that judgment. But that does not in any way compensate. 750,000 is extremely ridiculous. It is just unheard of. I mean,
you operate with some of these civil societies internationally. What do you think would be the thinking of some of these people when they hear judgments like this emanating from Nigeria, or try to marry it with our talk and about fighting corruption?
No, I mean, it is unfortunate. That is why they don't treat the Nigerian court as anything serious at all. Outside the country, they don't even care. You would find out that, I mean, lawyers will tell you, especially those who are involved in international litigation, and they will tell you once you just go to the court and you say, this is a judgment from the Nigerian court, they will just ask you to trash it. You know, that is why you can see even some litigants here. And that is what probably you will see in the case of Sahara Oil and what is this, Costaris, that they already taken Capital Oil, sorry, and Costaris, where one of them has just gone to a court in Britain, which is to tell you they don't even trust the Nigerian judicial system. And this is the most unfortunate situation you see yourself. Before the conviction, the just conviction I'm talking about by Justice Kolawole with regards to the October 1st bombing, you can see Enrioka was already convicted in South Africa before Nigeria, where the thing actually took place and happened, could actually convict one of those, suspects that are there. But it is very unfortunate, and that we send. You can see the insult that was passed on the president in Davos in Switzerland, where David Cameron was saying it to the president, that before you come here asking for aids, you need to actually justify how you have spent about $100 billion that accrued to Nigeria in the last 1 year. I mean, it has gone to that level that they not only treat us like subhuman beings, and we continue subjecting ourselves to this kind of opprobrium outside and within the shores of Nigeria. And I think it is high time that we start telling it to every one of them. The judges are already exposing themselves.
So what's your next move now?
Our next move is to petition the NJC on this judgment.
What about the EFCC?
No, the EFCC would also have to. With the EFCC Act, with what?
Yes, the EFCC and the EFCC Act. What are you going to do about that?
Oh, about that one is with the National Assembly. But maybe that is the only body that can refute the law. But one of the things that the judges, and that's why I said, the judges are in a position to actually reform the system. And judges like quite a number of them, Kayode Esho and the rest of them, have done that in the past. You can see the law that you can see is repugnant to the human existence. And it beholds on the judge. And that is why they would say, is as sober as a judge. Sobriety is reserved many times for every judge sitting on any matter for that in court. It is for you to look at actually how do you measure the barometer of the society, even outside the law. Because the law is not just only made for the people and not people for the law.
Can the judge measure the weight of a case outside the law?
That is what I've just said. It's possible. Because that is what I'm saying. It says the
is he not bound by the law?
No, he is bound by the law.
No.
And that is where you have some discretion.
That's in the area of fining.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is still the discretion there. And that is what he needs to exercise. All he needs to exercise in that regard is to say, fine, this law, which obviously here is repugnant to common sense. And for me, if you are going to serve this minimum time that this law has prescribed, then I will make it difficult for you and the rest of you, because when you're talking about judgment or rulings like this, it is not enough to actually deter others from going into such crime. It is actually to punish you as well. It must be punitive. And this guy has not been punished. He needs to be punished.
But there's an option.
To make it.
EFCC can appeal.
They don't even need to appeal, and I think they've just done the right thing to actually send signals to people who probably think once they get a favorable judgment from judges, then they can walk away by filing separate charges again. And you see, I mean, that actually sends a very strong signal to those who think they can go round, the circle when they ask for plea bargaining, and then they can also go round the circles and get the system to change by actually reaching out to people who are in a position to determine the outcome of plea bargaining. And I think it's a very commendable one. And I could see, when I heard about that, I only just laughed because I could see the passion of Dorothy Jacobs in court. I mean, that the charges were filed within 24 hours of the judgment.